and welcome to Behind the Paddle. I am Porcelain Victoria.
And I am E16.
Yeah, and today, well, before we get into what the episode's called, we are now putting all our episodes on Dark Funds, and we are wearing beautiful lingerie to just for effect, really.
Yeah. I feel like it goes well with the subject matter, so
Exactly. So yeah, that is where you will find all our content on Dark Fans, as well as Spotify and things. But if you want to see us in our beautiful lingerie, then Dark Fans.
What is the Dark Fan's name?
I'm pretty sure it is just Behind the Paddle.
Perfect.
Because I don't think anybody else has got that name, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today we are going to talk about not necessarily weird kinks, but kinks people turn their not turn their
More
heads
unusual ones
Yeah.
that maybe have a wee bit more controversy attached to people not in the know about them. Yeah.
Yeah. People that go, oh, really? So yeah, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start.
Okay.
You start.
So I'm going to start off with an easy one. I have my laptop here because I have shame memory. We are going to start with a kink. I will be using Google Translate because I'm just shy to actually saying it and the pronunciation. So we're going to start with this one.
Paraphilic infantilism.
Paraphilic infantilism.
Yes.
Is that like DDLG? No. Is that adult baby?
It is age play in general.
Age play. Cool. That makes sense.
So there's many different. It depends who you talk to because everything is so split up these days. I want to say in terms of what is what and like labels and such. So age play is usually, I would say it's like an umbrella term.
Yeah.
And then there's loads of things underneath it. So you have bigs, you have littles, you have daddies, you have mummies. I think now you've got like aunties and things.
Do all of them incorporate age play though? Is it not one of these things where like they can have an age play element but can also exist just as like how people want to call themselves? Do you know what I mean?
Well, DGLG stands for Daddy Dom, little girl.
Yeah. I've seen people speaking about it online where they're saying like they're into DDLG but they're not into age play. Like age play is like a hard limit for them.
Oh.
Because they see it as like just roles that they're playing rather than them playing with the ages, they're just playing within the kind of power dynamic of those roles. Right. If that makes sense.
See, this is where like so many have got their own interpretations of things.
Totally.
So my interpretation of like DGLG, being like a dominatrix, I do see it as well as in my personal life. So I see it more sexually as a dominatrix. But in my personal life, I don't see it as sexual, but I know other people do.
Yeah.
I know that people do age play like OnlyFans and things like that. And that is just another controversial thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we can get on topic about on another podcast. But it's a difficult one because people, they have their own interpretations of it.
Like everybody's kinks are totally different. Like everybody's got their own way of doing things. It was just something that I had come across before, and like couldn't quite wrap my head around. Like I'm not saying that that's not the case for those people. I just like I'm the same as you. Like I don't quite understand.
Why do you have to like
where the distinction like lies?
Yeah, why do you have to pick it apart?
I think if people are doing it sexually, then it makes sense that like they are maybe trying to take like the age element out of it.
Some people, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But my question is, what exactly are you doing? What are you taking out of the age element?
So,
Well, you can still call him daddy.
yeah.
That's a role.
This is what I mean. So is that where the distinction lies then? Where people are just seeing it as a role and taking the age element out of it and just having like the caregiver and like the care receiver in that in the roles, but without age really coming into it, and it's just like more terminology based than it is.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. More your daddy, but you don't Yeah, but then what if he references her as a little girl?
Mm-hmm. But
in
again,
a sexual manner.
that can just be words though.
I don't want to be called a little girl while I'm getting pummeled.
But that's a personal preference.
But that does it make it sexual because he's calling you little?
But is it not more like, I don't know, people call each other babe and baby, but that doesn't mean that they think they're a baby. Like, people use pet names and it's cutesy, and it's more like the vibe of that than it is like the literal thing. I feel like you're Tisman on this a bit.
Like, baby's a bit different because it's been around and it's quite traditional.
But does that mean that it's any less valid because it's newer and less traditional? Like, do you know what? Like, what is this just because it's something we're used to that we don't think about it in the same way?
Well, I guess that is something which our listeners can talk about and give us what they think about that. Because that's...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's something like I've thought about before. Like, I don't know, like, why... I feel like we do that with our partners. Like people speaking like baby talk to each other and stuff all the time because it's like cutesy rather than it being like, I don't know, like nefarious. Like...
I don't know. I remember when I did have sex with somebody and it sounded like they said little girl. And I was like, oh. No, I'm a woman. Like, I don't want to be thought as a little girl. I think it comes down to the person then.
Totally.
Because of how I don't see DGLG as sexual. Because I do get uncomfortable when it comes sexual, even if it's like spanking and whatnot. So I think it definitely comes down to the person.
Yeah.
Because I can see how that can be controversial.
Totally.
Quite a bit. But yeah. Age play, adult baby.
That feels like a whole other thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do not provide age play sessions really anymore. Because I personally just get too uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's just not for me.
Yep.
And I know it's a limit for a lot of dominatrixes as well. That and sissy.
Yeah.
Because most of them want to suck on my boobies.
Yep.
And it make it get sexual
while
they're in the mind frame.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of experience with it, which is very interesting because it gives a new outlook on it.
Yeah.
So when you come to me and say that, I'm like, oh, okay. Take out like the sexual context and just have it with like names and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that adult baby can be sexual or non-sexual. But adult baby, for me at least, is an adult who acts like a baby. They usually wear diapers, have a bottle, have a pacifier, have
Sounds like folk
rompers.
that have taken too many drugs and went to too many raves, to be honest.
Put your pacifier in. And then they can go as far as having a big adult crib, a high chair. Some eat baby food, some do not.
Is it like an age regression thing for a lot of people? Is it like,
I would say it's part of age regression.
yeah, like is it like working through trauma? Is it like that?
It can be. I mean,
Yeah.
I know DGLG for me is working through trauma. That's why I
Yeah.
don't like it sexually.
Totally.
I haven't got to that stage where I can confidently be like, spank me while I'm in that mood or something, because I don't know if I want to do that.
Here's an interesting one. So if it's non-sexual, would you still classify it as a kink? Is it is it like more like age regression, like working through something, rather than it being a kink per se? Like, is there a difference between the two? Is this where...
I mean, some therapists have said that age regression does help.
Oh, totally,
people.
definitely.
So it is out there with people accepting it more and it actually being in the real world and seen as this could help your shitty childhood.
Totally.
That's a tough one because because like whenever I talk to people about it, I feel like I have to state that I don't like it sexually.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people, or some people, enjoy it sexually, and I'm just in no.
Yeah. I feel like that's the connotations attached to it, because that's like what more people know about.
Yeah, and you see it in porn and things like that, and people do what they want to do. I'm not. I don't care. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely is trauma healing. But at the same time, I'm not sucking a dick while calling him daddy. Like, it's difficult because to call it a kink, does it have to be sexual?
I think so.
But then, I know somebody who likes gas masks, and they don't do it sexually. They just like really, really like it, and it's a kink.
That's a tough one actually, because there's a lot of like asexual people that are into kink, and it's not because it's like a sexual experience for them. Oh
yeah.
I feel like we keep getting stuck on these. Like there's such a big topic, and there's just so much to it. And like we're no psychologists, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I'm gonna have to go away and think about this now. That's really stumped me.
Right?
Like
this is where I'm like, oh, do I go to uni and see if I can get a fucking degree in like psychology?
Oh, we should go together. That'd be cool, but like just kink focused.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think for it to be a kink it has to be sexual.
Yeah.
I do see it as a kink because I go to kink events with other people.
Yeah.
Like DGLG events and things.
Are a lot of them like doing it sexually though? Is that not the majority?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them get off on the fact that they wear a diaper in public.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, that's more of a kink.
Yeah.
Or more of a fetish. It's more...
Aye, it's more concretely a kink anyway. Yeah, totally.
So I think it's case by case basis, really.
Totally. And like we say, like everybody does kink differently, and everybody's got their own definition of what that looks like for each individual. Like it's no like really for us to say. I'm more just like, how do I feel about it? And I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, it takes... I want to know where your head's at when you're... or why you're acting like a baby.
Oh, totally.
Because I've had guys who want to have sex or wank off.
Yeah.
Or me act like a child.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a wee story. When I was 18? Yeah, 18, and then I met him again when I was 19. When I was 18, I had adult pacifiers and things because I was into DGLG from a young age. And he saw it in my room, and he was like, oh, wear that while I fuck you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know, but sure, yeah. I'm young and naive and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I moved, so I didn't see him for a while. And then I saw him where I moved to. And I was like, oh, hey. And he was like, I'm going to be in your area soon and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, can you dress up as a 6-year-old? Can you get girl magazines?
Yeah.
6-year-old underwear? I'm
Mhm.
like, 18. First off, how am I going to fit in that?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he wanted me to get all the clothes and things.
Mhm.
And then he was like, I want you to get a happy birthday 6 badge. And I was like, sure, yeah. And then I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I just fucking couldn't. I got everything ready, most of it. And then that, like, I just could not bring myself. And I was like, sorry, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I don't think I gave him the money back because I think he knew what he was doing was wrong. Because it never came back up.
Yeah.
And we just parted ways because it was that fucking weird.
Yeah.
I just, no. So this is what I mean where, like, I've got experience that maybe some other people haven't got, so I have a different outlook on
totally.
how certain quote-unquote kinks and things, like, I think possibly he was into all the kids and things.
Yeah.
But you never know.
It's good that you have recognised, like, that's not something you're comfortable with
Oh,
and
no.
have, like, good boundaries for that. Like, you're just like, no, that's just not happening.
Yeah, there's so much I can do for money.
Yeah.
But certain things I can just say no to.
Yeah.
And thankfully these days I can. Which is why I don't really think I'm prepared to do any adult baby sessions where it is sexual.
Totally.
And I'm sort of getting there with sissies and things. Just because of them wanting to be feminized and then called names.
And that act in itself being humiliating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dehumanization
Yeah.
of, like, women.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult one. But yeah.
I find that one, like, easier in some ways just because, like, especially even just with the term sissy, like, you can see where that has been, like, an experience people have had at a young age and why that's became, like, sexualised for them. Like, I don't know. I can just wrap my head around that a bit easier. Like, I get it. But, yeah.
But yeah, adult baby. It all depends on what what the person wants. I mean, going back to my childhood, watching Sexcetera, there was 2 episodes, I think, or at least 2 people they interviewed for adult baby. Now, I wouldn't really say it was a great episode because the representation they showed, I don't want to say, like, it put it in a bit of a bad light.
They've, like, sensationalised it as media tends to do with things. Like, they've showed, like, the most extreme version of it they could find.
Like, I'm sorry, but it was a unattractive, very big guy who was sucking on somebody's tit. And so they showed, like, the sexualized version, but they showed it in very...
Is that Channel 4? Sexcetera?
Well, it's not on anymore.
But
it was Bravo.
Was it Bravo?
Challenge.
Alright, okay. Just because, like, I don't know, looking back at, like, some of the old Channel 4 documentaries, like, they just rip the absolute piss out of the people that are on there.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like documentaries have came a long way in terms of, like, the ethics attached, and I feel like Sexcetera is probably in that same category as, like, back in the day where they, like, never really let the people know how they were going to be shown.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not saying that, like, it was the way the guy was shown.
And how they spoke about him and stuff.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, it can be, like, I'm reading from Wikipedia. I think it is, yeah. And it says, can be an expression of sexual fetish or more accurately, paraphilia, or simply a non-sexual form of recreational adult role play. for me, it's just trauma healing
Oh,
and like
totally.
stuffies and cuddles,
Totally.
hot chocolates, all that stuff.
Yeah, as people like reliving their childhoods
Yeah.
in a safe way.
Yeah.
When they maybe didn't get that when they were younger.
Exactly. So there's so many different forms of it,
Mhm.
and I do think it still is, especially if you say to somebody, "Oh, I like wearing diapers." I think it definitely is something that like turns heads, and it does need to be said if you're like trying to get a relationship or something like that,
Mhm.
because well, I think a lot of my clients as well know my stance on when it comes to relationships and actually like telling the truth of what you're into and things, because
Yeah.
it'll just eat a hole in you.
Oh, totally. It's so important. Like, I find that it's so hard. Like, not that I've really had to do it, but like dating while kinky, because you've just got like more of a list of things that you have to be compatible with
Well,
somebody
yeah,
for.
absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Like that's what I'm doing right now, where it's like, are you into DGLG? Do you have experience? Do you enjoy pet play? Do you have experience?
Yeah.
And it's like a fucking needle in a haystack, basically. It's great. But yeah, that is one of the kinks that I know about and that I enjoy, and people are very not necessarily open, but they really want to know everything usually
Mhm.
about it when you tell them that you're into a certain thing like this.
Yeah, like I feel like it's more of an unusual one. It's
Yeah.
not like what comes to mind when you think kink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like on dates these days, people are just like, oh, you're into pegging then? Or something more casual
Yeah.
that has been normalised.
Yeah, because there's a lot in the mainstream these days, and I think it's totally fair to say that like age play in general isn't one and still has like a lot of taboo attached to it. Like even for us,
Yeah,
from
because
the
you'll get
conversation
people
we're
who
having,
are
you
just
know.
like, oh, do you enjoy fucking kids?
Yeah.
And things like that. Like,
Mhm.
it's worse when you are a male.
Yeah.
Or male presenting. Because they will just think you're a paedophile and things.
Yeah.
And it's like, it could be that, I'll be honest. It could be that. Or, like, they just want to relive their childhood or just have a fucking better life or something.
Yeah. Or they just feel like what we're talking about, like more comfortable in that kind of like caregiving role.
Yeah.
Or care receiving role.
Exactly. Whereas if like, yeah, if vice versa, like, not all of us want to fuck kids. It's like with like furries, because people get that they misinterpret that. Well, they're like, oh, you like dressing up as animals, so you like fucking them, and it's like, I'm sure there's a portion of people that do like to fuck animals and bestiality and things, but not all.
Are we gonna have to like beep on this?
Like maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I have got 6 different philias, which is like unusual kinks, basically.
Okay.
As the kind of medical term for it.
Medical.
So, yeah. Because they used to be in the DSM, a lot of them.
What's the DSM?
It's, I can't remember what the letters are for, but it's basically like the big book of all the mental illnesses.
Nice.
In America. Because like actual sadomasochism's in there still.
Right.
But they've changed it to say it's only a mental health condition if it's affecting your life negatively.
Oh,
whereas it used to just be overall. So it's like it's getting better. It's still in there, which I can kind of see if somebody's like
there are people
seeking
out
it
there,
out to an extent where they are getting like really harmed because of it.
Absolutely.
At least permanently and not in like a safe way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought we'll say the name and take a guess if you want. Some of them are easier than others. But
I wonder if that counts for like serial killers and things. Being sadistic.
Potentially, yeah.
And that's why they've kept that. If like it affects your livelihood. Because that's
like
the only like
different
extreme thing I can think of.
I feel like there's a difference between like sadism and like actually murdering people though. Do you know what I mean?
Still causing pain.
It is.
Like, I'm sure there'll be like a chart.
Yeah, they'll probably they'll probably get it all like lined out very precisely. Cool. So the first one is stigmatophilia.
Is that like in tomatoes or something? 'Cause that's not...
Do you want me just to tell you?
Yeah.
So it's piercings and tattoos.
Oh.
So get turned on by someone who has
Okay.
piercings and tattoos.
I might have a bit of that.
So stigma is what's the kind of part of that. Originally came from Latin to mean mark or brand, which is where like to tattoo came from. It's also where like the word stigma comes in.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Which is what I was saying was really interesting when I looked it up before, because it then became the word for like getting branded, which obviously people did when they were like stealing or piracy or whatever back in the day, which is why stigma now means shame or discredit, because it was like a mark of shame
Yeah.
that you got.
Fair.
Just thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Pyrophilia?
Oh, I know this one, but I don't. Oh. Fire.
Yeah. Good job. Yeah, I thought that was quite an easy one, but it's good. So, what's another one? Hierophilia? This one's a wee bit harder. Like hieroglyphics.
Hydra. No. Like being up high or something. Or water.
No, so it's like sacred or holy, so it's like religious objects.
Oh.
And I find this one really interesting because most of the parts of words tend to come from Latin. That's just like the usual. But this actually comes from ancient Greek, because people have been shagging religious objects for a very long time, enough that they had for a word for it back in ancient Greece.
Nice.
And it's like carried on for them. So
that's really interesting, because I made a porno with Mila.
Oh yeah.
And she was licking the cross and things, and oh my god, it was so good.
So forniphilia? Forniphilia.
Is it better with like touch or something?
No. That's fair, because it's a bit like fornication. Like, I can see where you've got there. But it's actually been made into like a piece of furniture.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a good one. I didn't think it was necessarily like all that obvious, but like, I don't know. It's always in porn. It's not something that I've ever like met anybody that's into that. Yeah, I don't think.
If the sub comes over later, I'll tell him to be a table for you.
Nice.
I love it. I mean, I would say I'm actually kind of into that.
Cool.
Because like I like to be of service.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Like, it's not just like being like a lamp. Like, I think that's the one that I always think of. Just like standing in the corner.
Like fucking Uncle Fester, if you've seen the Addams Family, just with the light bulb in their mouth.
Like, that's where my brain always goes when I hear that.
No, I find the thought of like being a table and him using me as like a plate or something like that, and just eating his food off of, like,
that does sound pretty nice, to be fair.
And then they have like the candles burning and things.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's mildly feed-inducing, but talk about burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, it's like when people do the whole naked sushi eating off a person.
Oh, I can't remember. That was the periodic table of kink thing that you had on your wall in the dungeon. Had that on it, because that was always one that I can never remember the name of, and I had to look up every time, and I was like, oh yeah, it's that one. Yeah,
I can't remember what that was. I should have just got it out of the storage and just put it there.
Yeah. Oh, that could be a good cover for this.
I know.
Let me see. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this. Ryota Imori is the name for it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It originated between 1603 and 1868. Wow, that's cool.
Wow. Like eating food of each other. That's funny.
So teratophilia? Yeah.
Like if you're trapped.
No, it's monster fucking.
Oh, okay.
No, a lot of them are obvious. A lot of them aren't because they're like so old, which is hilarious. Like, aye, this is another ancient Greek one, so.
I mean, you can put my name down for that as well, that's fine.
Philia just means love. So it's like everything love, which makes total sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And the last one is klismaphilia.
The clitoris.
No, it's enemas.
Oh.
But klis is from ancient Greek and means flood. So it's like flood love.
It's gonna wash you out. Lovely little tsunami.
But yeah, that's my list. I just thought they were quite interesting.
That's very good.
Gerontophilia.
Oh. Gerontophilia.
Gerontophilia.
Yeah. So apparently, the
Even though?
first the spelling on here is Indonesian.
All right. Okay.
And then when you translate it,
Gerontophilia.
Gerontophilia.
that's
Is it
what
like
translates to.
vampires? No, sorry.
No.
No, I'm not a clue. Go for it.
It's when a person is sexually attracted to elder people.
Elder.
Elders. Yeah.
Oh, right,
The
okay.
elderly.
Geronto. Anyway, sorry.
Geronto.
Geronimo. That's all I'm thinking. So my brain's been doing this full time. That feels like an old people thing to say.
Geronimo. No. For example, a 20-something-year-old woman might be attracted to a man in his late 40s. This isn't that kink. Gerontophilias are attracted to people aged 65 years and older.
Yeah.
So I don't class it something. Yeah, while not being part of or close to the age group.
Yeah. So this is like age gap plus elder edition.
So there is
Melalagnia.
Melalagnia.
Yep.
Is that like loads of legs? No, I don't know.
No. That one is simply getting turned on by music.
By music?
Yeah.
Oh, fair. I can see that.
I'm trying to think of what music I would get turned on by. It's like Slipknot.
I mean, you can really, like, I don't know, you can make anybody associate, like, anything with, like, being turned on if you, like, worked hard enough at it. So, like, I can see that.
Yeah, but is it just the music itself, or does it come with acts? See?
Or is it, like, individual songs?
Yeah.
Or is it, like, individual genres of music? Or just, like, music in general? How fucking annoying would that be? You're just, like, walking down the street and, like, aye, that could be really inconvenient.
Justin Bieber starts playing. I'm just, oh yeah, I'm in the mood now. But yeah, I mean, I can see, like, oh my god, that'd be so cute and like romantic in a way. If somebody just tries to seduce you and they've got music on and stuff, I like that. That's nice. But for me to just have music, I can feel sexy, but I won't get turned on. I won't be able to like masturbate to it or something.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So I take it that's no one you've came across then?
No.
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 In the wild.
No. I mean, I could talk about the session which I had recently, which was, so there was no music.
Yeah.
And the guy wanted, I don't know, I will need to look up the term into what it's actually called. Because it's not sploshing, because it's not food, and it's not gunking, because it's not gunk. But he basically wanted me to put shower gel all over his head and face.
Was it like 2 in 1 or?
No. Just shower gel.
Just straight up like washing his hair.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
And he liked the feeling. He liked the AMSR, so like there was no music. It was quiet.
It was just like the noise of the...
Yeah, the noise of my fingers on his hair.
Yeah.
And the shampoo, not the shampoo, because it wasn't even shampoo, shower gel. And he really enjoyed it. He loved like the sensations and things. And then I gave him a mouth soaping.
Yeah.
Where you just put soap in somebody's mouth and you know you can go as easy or hard as they preferably want.
Is that another one that's like more common with like older clients?
I would say so.
Because like that was a pure thing folk used to do back in the day. Folks swore in that. They'd be like, "Oh, wash your mouth out with soap."
I remember getting my mouth washed.
Did that
out.
happen to you?
With my dad, yeah.
That's like abuse. What the fuck?
Again, healing from trauma.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like that, like it was so common back in the day.
So carcinogenic.
That's so clean now. It erased my sins and all that stuff.
Now you're gonna have mouth cancer. Nice.
Oh, I think I know what bar it was. It was the green bars because we used to always have the green bars of soap. So I think it was like olive or something like that. But that used to be a threat and things.
Yeah.
I would imagine it would be worse in the older generations as well.
Yeah.
With actually getting their mouth washed out. But if they had their mouth washed out with like an attractive woman or just like trauma healing and things.
Like I don't know what to like feed into the stereotype, but I feel like especially with like fetishes over kinks, it always seems to come from childhood for the most part.
Yeah.
Like there's always been like an experience somebody's had. I feel like that with the music one as well. Like I wonder if that's where that comes from with people. Where there's been like a certain song that's been playing when like
their parents shagging or something.
I don't know if it's that type of trauma.
Just like to steal a kiss from a rose or something. But yeah. Yeah, that for me, from my experience, the older gentlemen which I've had are like more into CP, which is corporal punishment.
Is that like the school mistress type? Yeah.
Wanting to get punished. And then yeah, I mean this gentleman, he was I want to say early 30s.
Oh, so quite young
maybe a bit older.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. But no, I mean he liked all the sensations and things.
Yeah.
But it for me, the stereotype of older gentlemen likes their mouth washed out and things is like real for me because that's the clientele which I have seen and I get and things like that.
Folk that were like still getting the belt in school, that type of age group.
Yeah.
I feel like all that time was like, that just goes with that time in my head. So.
And even then with that stereotype, I don't see a lot of it because of how young I am.
Yeah.
They would prefer somebody older, stricter looking.
Yeah.
Looking like a teacher or things. But yeah, what was my next one?
I didn't realise, like, we'll definitely do an episode about this in the future, but like, a lot of the OG like dominatrixes were all called like governess because they were like school mistresses. That was like the beginning of like people paying for like corporal punishment and like BDSM and stuff, like that's the kind of the beginning of it. So it makes sense that it's still so heavily prevalent now. It's like kind of like the origins of where things kind
Yeah,
of started.
I know that some mistresses do go by that, and I
Yeah.
definitely am aware that some mistresses don't know that
Mhm.
and don't know the origin of it, and they just go by the term mistress or
Yeah,
something.
it was like people recreating their school experience, basically.
Yeah.
That's like I find it quite interesting that like it feels like people back in the Victorian times were like more aware of that and more comfortable than people now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just fully went in on it. They were like, "This is what sells. This is
Well,
what people
Victorian
want."
era, they were having threesomes and
Oh,
sort of
definitely.
everything, and people were watching. So
Yeah,
there's exhibitionists and all sorts. Like they were so more out there. I want
but
to
like
say.
the table legs needed to be covered.
Oh yeah.
I think this is maybe why
what?
people were so like having to keep up such a higher level of appearances day to day that when they were letting loose, they were really letting loose.
There was a king or something like that who had something made so he could have sex more.
Henry VIII.
Was it Henry VIII?
Yeah, I'm sure it was like the big chair, so he could like lie down in it.
Maybe, but I'm thinking of somebody else.
All right, okay.
They might have been French, maybe. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they made something, and they could just have sex more easily in like different positions or something like that. But yeah, all kink, sex, all that stuff. I feel like very back in the day was not necessarily more accepted, but it was more out there.
Yeah.
Whereas these days, sadly, it's not.
Maybe in some circles.
I mean, I already shocked people enough.
Yeah.
When I'm just like, I'm into DJG, pet play. Oh, and this is also my job.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have this other kink, which is great.
Paraphilia.
Chirophilia.
No, my wee brain stopped working. Just tell me.
Hands.
Hands.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate nice hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be attracted to fingers, manicures, someone smoking.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just think hands are sexy, basically.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have like hand worshipping sessions? Is that something that you've done before?
I think there's an aspect of it. Because people do like to kiss hands.
Yeah.
And when they're
You've always got your nails like
yeah.
nice.
This is why I always have my nails done.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those things where you need to look good.
Yeah.
In a way. You'll like this one.
I'm worried now. Are you like outing me?
No, not in that way. Maybe. I could get down with this.
Spectrophilia.
Spectrophilia. I mean, that's gonna be ghosts, isn't it?
Oh my god, yeah! So, sexual attraction, relationships, or sexual encounters with ghosts who come and have hot sex with them at night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be terrifying.
I mean, I would be very concerned. I would think if it was the fucking piranha.
Yeah. One of the lizards.
Yeah. Just going back to the previous episodes. Just like, what's what you do?
Because you wouldn't be able to see them, eh? Like it would just be like, oh right, okay, what's happening?
Exactly. Oh, got it. Oh, I need to know what they look like.
Yeah. Like, what if they're really ugly?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. Because now, whenever I think about ghosts, I think about that. I think about Scary Movie. Because there is.
Yeah.
That scene where she has sex with the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. Fair.
You can see them though, can't you? They're kind of like an outline in Scary Movie. You know?
Yes. But I think in that specific scene, not that I've watched it, but like you can't see him.
Oh right, okay. It's been so long since I've seen the first one.
But I'm pretty sure it's mixed with like SA.
Aye, like she's like grabbing them. She's like, get over here. Like he's just trying to get away from her. Aye.
I can't remember now. Maybe
I think he tries to like sneak up on her at the start, and then like she's like, oh hell no, and like he's trying to like get away from her, and she's like grabbing him and like dragging him back into the bed or something. I'm sure that's what it's like.
But yeah, it's a good movie. There is this one.
Mm-hmm.
Stygiophilia.
Stygiophilia.
Stygiophilia?
Yep.
Digi. Sorry. Nah, don't know.
The sexual pleasure from the idea of going to hell.
Oh, I've never heard of that before.
Or facing eternal punishment.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just lived fucking 3 years of eternal punishment, so I don't want to think get me off.
I wonder where the stingy comes from.
I don't know actually, because it says it's English.
Yeah.
The actual word.
How do you spell it?
STYGIO. Philia.
Ah, there's another Greek one. So the Greek god Styx ruled over the underworld, or ruled over one of the rivers, sorry, of the underworld.
Ah.
So it's like Styxio, like it, Philia.
Fair. It goes.
I mean, fair.
Yeah. So there's this one.
Just more religious.
Trichophilia.
Trichophilia.
Is that the number 13? No, that's Triskelion or something. I don't know.
Hair.
Hair?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hair fetish.
Like eating it or just it in general? Sorry, I don't know where that's where my brain went.
So it can involve touching, smelling, looking, wearing other people's hair.
Yeah.
Or interacting with hair in different states. For example, when it is wet, cut, or plucked.
Oh, wet hair. No thanks.
It can even involve eating hair.
Yeah. I'm sure I've heard of that before, that was why.
I mean, people eat drywall and everything.
Yeah.
So. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then of course they have preferences of like if they like curls or short hair or red. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
There is a guy I mentioned it to you previously, who has been wanting to chop my hair off.
Oh yeah.
Because he likes shaving hair and things.
Yeah.
There was a guy who sadly the meet didn't happen because he wanted me to get a very retro hairdryer and he wanted me to do his hair.
Oh.
I think it was his hair or my hair, I'm not too sure. But I've came across that a good few times where people want to touch my hair or me to touch their hair or do something in some instance.
Yeah.
I
mean, like hair is like decorative, isn't it? Like it is like a sexual attribute kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely. Like people are attracted to like bald men.
Yeah, like it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like.
So let's see if you get this one, or if any of our listeners get this one, because you've better been playing the game of like what is the kink. So we have.
There's so much Greek in here. This is why I'm struggling. Europhilia.
It's obvious when I'll say it. Europhilia. Yeah.
Like European people?
Wait, you just sniff them out.
I don't know. People like people of different nationalities and stuff. Americans pure think Europe's one country, so and it's them making up half these names.
I know.
Even I have no idea. I can't think. Money?
Urine.
Urine. Oh.
Right.
Yeah. Like urology. Because I was thinking, what's urology? Like in my head, I was going, that's a thing. Because that's like the study of urine.
Oh, is
But
it?
yeah,
Nice.
because it comes from the same like word, but I just couldn't remember what it was at all there. That was when they used to like taste people's pee
Oh,
to find out what was wrong with them.
oh yes.
It worked. It worked. Because when people have got diabetes, their pee is really sweet. There's loads of...
Oh yeah, like that comes sweet as well.
Yeah.
That was a party trick of one of the guys who I used to see.
What, diagnosing people with diabetes?
No, he was,
Sorry.
he was like, my cum's sweet, you're gonna love it. It was fine.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. It was like, yeah. Like, it is sweet.
Like sweet and salted popcorn.
Don't be jealous. But yeah, it's a fancy name for water sports.
Yeah.
They just find it sexy, arousing, and it's one of the things which I do often in my sessions.
Yeah.
Whether it's a person drinking it or going over pissing over their cock or their face or something like that. So yeah.
I feel like that's one that like still feels unaccepted, but like is really common. Like I don't get why there's still such a hang up about it.
I'm reading this here, and it's like, if you don't remember the reports of that unverified dossier, alleging that former President Donald Trump engaged in the act, a golden shower.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's pretty random to be that. Okay.
And there was a whole like big scandal about it because he was like paying Russian prostitutes to like pee on him. There was like multiple things came out, like multiple lasses came forward about it, I'm sure.
I'd quite happily. So fuck you.
I mean, does it count if they're going to enjoy it? Like, it's not.
That's a good point. No, this is where he lays down, and I just do it next to him.
Yeah.
I miss.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a good one. I can probably say this one, but I want to make sure that I'm actually doing it right. So we have
Vicarphilia.
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 Yeah, it does not sound like what it's to do with.
It's not to do with like vicars.
No. I'm sure there is something with that.
Oh, definitely. I have not a clue. You've already told me I'm not gonna get it, so. Oh, unless if it's like vicarious, then it's like living through someone else. So is it like getting turned on by turning other people on?
Oh, okay.
Did I get it right?
So vicarphilia is vicarous arousal.
Vicarious.
Vicarious, that's the word.
Yep.
A kink where individuals are intensely aroused by hearing the sexual encounters,
Cool.
sexual experiences, interests and behaviours of others.
Yeah.
Namely those who live different or usually more thrilling lives than their own.
That's an interesting one. It's a wee bit different to what I was thinking, but yeah, cool.
This
that makes
can
sense.
be experienced by listening to a famous musician explain their sexual history on a podcast, for example, or perhaps by reading a writer's recount of their first erotic experience.
So basically, anybody that's wanked to this podcast has that kink.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think if I have that.
I mean, is that not just like, I don't know, like
story
porn?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I
Like, what?
agree.
Like, is that not everybody? But I think because it's the vicarious bit is when they are doing more, like when it's impressive to you. So like, or doing something you're not able to do. So I think that's where it's a wee bit different. So it's maybe like more something that would be a fantasy for you, rather than something you've done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that no still porn? Like if it's something, I don't know. That's a hard one.
I mean, I don't read
Mm-hmm.
in general. I don't read an autobiography and expect to like wank off to it or something.
Yeah, but maybe it's a bit like you idolising that person, which is why they're talking about like a rock star or whatever. So like if it's somebody that you really look up to, and you find it thrilling and like sexually exciting to hear about their sex life because they're living a life that you can't or
Does
don't.
it have to sound thrilling?
I think so. I think that's the
Like, do they have to go in detail? Because who these days goes in detail about like their sex life in an autobiography?
yeah.
Which is why I'm like, ooh, what if they just mention that like, what if they had sex when they were like 15 or 13 or something,
Mhm.
and that's in the book? Would they get turned on by that?
I feel like
Like
that's
the
a whole
age of
other
things.
issue.
Like it's their first sexual encounter. And again, a lot of people get their first sexual encounters when they're younger, or like have a glimpse of like a kink and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I realised that I didn't actually explain what sploshing was.
Oh yeah.
So sploshing is food play. It's very, I enjoy
Is
it.
it always food? Can you not do
Yeah.
like mud and stuff with sploshing? I thought it was just like anything.
Let me just double check.
Because I heard you mention gunging, which I've not heard as
Yeah.
a separate thing to sploshing before. I thought they were just like the same thing.
No, I see them as different. So there is a umbrella term called wet and messy.
Ah, I didn't realise. Right, cool. I think I've swapped sploshing for just wet and messy in my head. Like I thought sploshing was an umbrella term for everything.
I don't believe so.
Cool.
I believe sploshing is. Oh, that's so cute. I typed in sploshing and the like third thing that comes up is splosh muffin.
Oh.
Yeah. So let me see. I do believe it is gratification from interacting with food or watching others do the same.
Cool.
Which is why I was like, I don't know exactly
what to call
the hair, the shower gel and things, because it's not sploshing, it's not food.
Is it even wet and messy? Because was it about, if it was a bit like the sensation and stuff of just being washed, is that not like, do you know, like it's not getting covered in something you wouldn't normally get covered in, where it is with like sploshing and gunging and like that's like an experience that you wouldn't have out with that.
I think possibly for him, because he was travelling, it was easy for him to pick them up at the shops because he didn't take them away. There was a bit left over. So, and the pictures that he sent me were like people properly foamed up in foam and shower gel and things.
Maybe like gunging then, kind of?
Yeah, that's the closest
it's
I
like
can...
foaming. Oh, do you think like people into that would get turned on in like a foam party scenario then?
Most likely.
Yeah, because it's still like getting all covered in foam and stuff, isn't it?
You're feeling it, you're seeing other people do it.
Yeah. People sliding about in it and stuff. Like, yeah.
And like we chased after the lads as well.
That was so much fun.
We went in the foam pit. I'm trying to find if there is actually any porn with shower gel. That's one. Watching a woman shower.
Oh yeah.
That's got shower gel in it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, could you imagine getting turned on by the adverts on TV? Oh, that'd be fucking hell. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Easy wank.
Oh yeah, Davina McCall. Get that hair all good. Oh no.
Imagine, you ended up with like a fetish that was like so specific that you could just never get it. Like you specifically want to eat Davina McCall's hair.
Did we press record? But yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't think that really that has a name apart from just wet and messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that comes under like cake sitting, jello.
Yeah.
Jelly. But yeah, lots and lots of new kinks. Lots of new kinks.
Some I haven't even heard of before, so good job.
I know it's very interesting how there's a lot of like religious and like hell and things.
Well, like I don't know. There's that thing where like fetishes come out of things that you got scared by as a kid, and like religion's fucking terrifying. So it makes sense that there's so many of them. Like people have literally had the fear of God put in them. So like, yeah.
But yeah, this has been the episode. I hope you've enjoyed.
Yeah.
You can find us on Dark Fans, Spotify, Apple, everything.
Or on our website as well.
Or on our website, yeah.
Which is behindthepaddle.co.uk.
Yeah, and if you do want to support us, that would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, as always, there's a wee 10% discount code for you guys at sanctuaryofsin.com. If you put Behind the Paddle in at checkout, you'll get a discount off.
Yeah, wonderful. Right. This has been Behind the Paddle.
Thanks for listening.